Hi guys, well today's the day. My 20-year-old Jivvy tank bag is no more, and today's the day I've received, sneak peek, my new tank bag. We're going to look into why I decided to buy another tank bag, the choices that I gave myself and why I chose the ones that I've looked at, and ultimately the reason for the decision on buying the one that I've bought. So guys, if you've seen the previous video of the crash bar bags, the Jivvy T513s, you will remember that I intimated I may not bother with a tank bag and just use one of the crash bar bags for the gear that I want to keep handy, that I want to take off the bike, carry with me. Having thought about that, I decided that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted a tank bag. And the reason for wanting a tank bag was that in the traveling that I'm going to do, even the traveling that I do within the UK, you know, for camping, even just driving around and riding around on a daily basis, it's quite handy to have a tank bag where you can very quickly fit it. You've got everything there in front of you and you can take it off quickly and carry it with you. Particularly for traveling, you may have documents in there, you may have electric goods in there. I always carry my camping knife in the tank bag, and the reason for that is just simply that if I'm going to leave the bike, I don't want that knife left accessible for anybody else to get hold of. So for various reasons, decided to buy a new tank bag. And the reason for wanting a new tank bag over the old Jivvy, because it's still serviceable. The old Jivvy, as I've pointed out, was far too large for the bike, especially for trail riding, just too big. So when looking around for a new bag, I had in mind that I wanted it to be magnetic, because I quite like the magnetic bag that I've had for all those years. I wanted it to be small enough that it didn't get in the way for trail riding, but big enough that I had a map pocket. And I want a map pocket because I just like having maps. I have a Garmin sat nav. I have my phone, my iPhone, which occasionally I'll use. Sometimes, and on the old Jivvy bag, I put the phone into the actual on top of the map, so it's, I've got the option to look at either. But I do like maps, so I wanted to get a map pocket that was big enough to put a map in, because some of them are not. You know, it's just a case that some are so small that you just wouldn't get a map in at all. So magnetic, small, but with a map pocket that's big enough for a map. And that was a bit of a challenge when you start looking around. One of the first ones I looked at was a Honda, and it was only a 3-litre bag, magnetic, designed to specifically fit the Honda CB500X. Well, specific headstock fitting, just as a safety feature. It has a headstock fitting that remains in place. The rest of it's magnetic, but it had it was only 3 litres, and it had a phone, clear phone pocket, which was good, but not for me. So that got discounted, even though I liked the product, and it was quite, for the quality, it was quite not unreasonable price at about £100. I really liked the giant loop Diablo. Even though that was only 4 litres, I could probably get away with that with a map pocket, which it did have. But they were sitting at around about the equivalent of £200, and only available, as far as I could find, only available importing from the US to the UK, with different charges for importing into the UK, so importation tax, an additional to the delivery cost charge to the courier, and some of the costs, some of the tax cost, I can't even remember what that is now, but basically you're looking at 3 different levels of costing over and above the cost of the delivered bag. So that would push it way beyond the £200 mark, probably around about 250, something like that. And so I discounted that. I also looked at the Moscow Moto tank bag, the what's now called the Nomax, used to be called Nomad, and that's a brilliantly designed bag for travelling. It has multiple layers. It has a built-in. It has lots of built-in pockets to put various items. It has what they call a beaver tail, which is just basically a flap on the top that allows you to stuff your gloves and other things in. And it has a water carrier in, so you really don't need to carry a backpack with your water. And it has backpack straps, so when you get to where you're going, you can take it off, make it into a backpack, and it looks like a backpack. Cracking bit of kit, but it was too big. It wasn't any smaller than the old Jivvy bag, and again ran about the 200, just over £200 mark, and it was seven litres, even though it was really well structured in that it was layered in three different layers. For what I wanted for the Honda CB500X, I think it was too big for my use anyway, so that got discounted. So that came down then to two tank bags. Oh, just to mention, I did look at the Lomo, Lomo gear looks really good quality and very good price, and they do a magnetic tank bag, but of course it's in their style of dry bag where you roll the end, which gives you the ultimate waterproofness, and strap that down. And that discounted it because it wouldn't be easily accessible while you're on the bike. You'd be rummaging away for things from, I believe, well, it might be from the back, but you'd be rummaging away. It didn't open up like a traditional tank bag where you can literally see everything and access everything. So I discounted that as well. And indeed, that meant that I'd discounted all the magnetic bags. So in the end, I accepted that I was going to have to buy one that had a harness or straps to fit it to the Honda CB500X rather than magnetic. I know there'll be loads of options out there, but just the way I was looking, I wanted a good quality one, and I wanted it to last for many years to come. And I just eventually got down to a short list of 2 bags. And that short list was the Wolfman Black Hawk. It was a 10-litre tank bag, and had a map pocket, and the Enduristan Sandstorm 4H, which was a 7-litre bag with a map pocket. Neither were magnetic, both were strapped to the bike. And I've got to say, both were quite similar in their construction, certainly similar in the strapping. Virtually the same size. The map pocket was slightly smaller on the Wolfman, but only marginally. The Wolfman was marginally larger capacity. In terms of size, the Enduristan was physically slightly smaller, but in a different measurements. So either bag would have been a good choice for me, and in the end I had to make a decision between the two because both were accessible in the UK, and that choice came down to 2 things. Firstly, price. The Enduristan was £127 delivered in the UK, and the Wolfman, available in the UK and both of them available straight away, was £185. So there was a price difference. On the quality front, I think both were pretty good bags, slightly different features. The second thing that pushed me to the Enduristan was I liked the interior of the Enduristan over the Wolfman. And the Wolfram was fairly basic interior in that it had just a big open gap, which is great because that's just what I've had with the Jivvy. But the Enduristan had a divider which velcroed to different position, and it had more pockets and places to put things on the side and in the lid. So in the end, it almost come down to toss of a coin, but I made the decision for the reasons I've said, and it was the Enduristan Sandstorm 4H that I've bought. And I'm going to go through the details, the technical details of it as best I can, and I'll put the details up on screen as well. But I'll just give you a first proper look of it, and then we'll get into a closer look of the features of the bag. So that's the first look of the Enduristan bag, and I'm just going to give you a view of that without actually going into the details too much. And we have the map pocket. The Enduristan logo disappears when you put a map inside. Because even I thought, well, that's no good there, can't read the map. Okay, so that's the bag I've chosen, and I now just want to go into the finer detail of the bag for you. Might be useful, all of this might be useful for you in making your own decisions for your own bag. So guys, here we have the Enduristan Sandstorm 4H tank bag. It's a 7 litre capacity. The dimensions in centimetres of the bag are 16 centimetres in height, front and back. So it's the same front and back, 16 centimetres. The length of the bag is 27 centimetres. And the width of the bag, front and back, is 20 centimetres. Now the map pocket is removable. So with the map pocket removed, you can see the shape of the bag and the size of it. And this is Velcro on the bag and Velcro on the map pocket. Now, the map pocket itself is 27 centimetres by 19 centimetres. And you can quite clearly see from a side-on view that it's slightly longer than the actual bag itself. And that's obviously to give it a reasonable capacity map size. I've thought about this with regards to the map, and if I was out for just the day without needing a map, you could quite easily use the bag in that form. You could get an extra bag on top of this if you wanted, just by having Velcro underneath the bag, or quite often you find military mole bags that have Velcro already on. So there's some flexibility in using that and increasing your capacity if you wanted to. I probably won't. If I'm travelling, I'll always have the map pocket on. If I'm out just for a couple of hours, I might not bother with the map pocket and just take it as it is. But with its map pocket, I'll just go over that first so that you can get a view of this. It has a Velcro fastening which will actually sit at the back of the bag facing you, and I guess that helps to not allow water into there. It's just a simple Velcro. It's not folded over other than just folded, and it's not rolled, I should say, but it's just Velcroed. So your map goes into there. Also, you can put your device in, whether it be an iPhone or an iPad type device. And on the rear, there is an opening which goes about an inch in before it returns into the pouch for a cable to go in. And you can maybe just see my finger sticking through. So you can stick your power cable through there, which is quite handy. I sometimes have a map and just stick my phone in there if I want to quickly look at something when I stop somewhere. I'll just dispense with that now because you've seen what that looks like. And if we look at the sides of the bag, both sides have this mesh pocket, which is, it's almost the length of the bag. Useful for sticking odd bits and pieces in when you're on the move. And it has a really good Velcro fitting on there. All the stitching is double stitching. It's really well built. The bag itself is a 3-layer fabric. So you've got the outer layer, you've got a middle layer, and then you have an inner layer. And it's all welded together, designed to give you flexibility, so it'll move around a bit deliberately if you're on a trail ride. It gives you actual physical strength if you were to put it down the road, or you to hit it with something, or something catches it. So it's a strong bag, and they're determined it's a 100% waterproof bag. So well constructed. If we were to look at the rear of the bag, now if you see, although the external dimensions are 16 centimeters across, towards the end of the bag it does actually start to dip down to take a shape of your tank, which hopefully you can see in that image there. And it's this pad at the bottom is a really nice feel to it, grippy, tough, and it will mold to the shape of your bike. So the back part, if you were to take a measurement on the rear, that's going to be more than the 16 centimeters, but there's not a lot of extra usable space there, just a little bit in the bottom. So whilst we're still looking at the rear of the bag, you can see where the actual fastenings are to open the zips. The zips themselves are YKK zips, so very good quality zips. You have a carrying handle, which is on the rear is grippy plastic, so really, really nice feel to that. And the strapping webbing seems really good quality. Everything is welded, heat welded. You can see where the fixings for these straps are. You can see where it's been heat welded round here. So whilst the straps are fitted on the top, it's welded round here to stop any water ingress. These are reflective. So the white is reflective material. And on the bottom here you have 2 D-rings, and those D-rings are designed so you can put a shoulder strap on. Now the shoulder strap is an extra cost. I don't need it because I've got a couple of shoulder straps that I can already use off other bags. So that gives you an ability to actually carry it over your shoulder with a shoulder strap. And another nice feature quality-wise about this bag is these 2 side mounting straps. So these will fix somewhere down towards your foot pegs, or the bracket for your footrest. That's to be determined when I actually have a look at the bike, or have a look at the bag on the bike. But these are proper rock strap designed straps, so you've got elasticity in them, and I believe Rockstrap build a rubber band in the middle of all this to retain that elasticity and strength. So proper Rockstrap straps. Quick fitting buckles. So these are 2 male buckles for the rear side fixings, and we will fix the female sides to the bike. So quick fixing. But the other feature I quite like about this particular bag is that when you decide to carry this over your shoulder or just carry it with the strap, there's a velcroed pouch which goes all the way to the bottom of the bag and is closed at the bottom, so it only has the one opening, and it's specifically designed for when you're carrying this bag away from the bike. you just push these straps, rock straps, into there, and they will then not catch on anything, they won't be in the way, they'll simply be in that pouch. Excuse me. And that is a brilliant little feature, because otherwise your dangling straps would end up catching on things, might end up tearing at them anyway. But beauty is, if you're carrying that now has disappeared into that pouch. That's what it's designed for, but as an added feature that I've instantly thought about is, what a great place to put some documents that you don't necessarily need all the time, but you want to keep out of sight. And I suspect many people, if they were trying to steal from you on a long journey, would never find that little pouch in there. That would be difficult to find. Not impossible, but difficult. But it's designed to put these straps to get them out of the way. So that's the rear of the bag. I've touched on the side with the pouches. The front of the bag has a male and female buckle, and then it fits to a female and male, which fits around the headstock somewhere. We'll figure that out with the Honda CB500. Every bike's going to be slightly different, but I'll figure it out when I do a fitting of the bag to the bike. And effectively, those buckles on the Honda CB500X, I suspect, are going to sit on the upright part of the tank, facing forward, and they won't. You can just leave them there because they're not going to move. They're not going to fall from the bike because there is a buckle holding around the headstock. So another thing I like about the bag is that whilst it sits over your fuel cap, which would be under there, it has a quick release system. So when you want to fuel up, you literally just unhook that side, unhook that side. This is at the front. And then the whole thing will just hinge back like that whilst you fuel up, lock up, back down again, and very quickly connect the two buckles. All accessible actually while you're sat on your bike. So I like that. That's a nice feature. Really good webbing, strong webbing. So just to finish off on the exterior, the actual material on the exterior here is 1000 denier nylon. The zips, as I've mentioned, are YKK, but what I didn't realise, there was different, well, I should have realised, but there's obviously different size YKK zips, and these are size 8, and they describe that as quite an impressive size to have for a tank bag, but what do I know? But the size 8 YKK zips. So bear in mind, I'm opening this is the rear and this is the front, but for purposes of you being able to see in, I'm going to open it this way around. So you've got these zips, and you can see from the material surrounding the zips that it's really heavy duty material. So the zips having been opened, we now just lift the lid, and that's the lid lifted. And what we've got inside is the fixings for the rear side mountings and some silicone grease for the zips. So while we're at it, I'll just show you the female end of the buckle. So that's the female end of the buckle that goes down somewhere on the side of the bike, and it has heavy duty cable ties to fasten that. It has an extra rubber pad here just to give it a degree of flexibility, I guess, when it's mounted. And effectively, that's that. Seems to be an extra buckle as well, which I guess is just a spare. So now, with the bag open, I just want to show you inside the bag. It has this nice red lining, which means you can find things easier. This is waterproof dry bag type material. And as I said, it's there's a 3 layer, so there's the outer, there's an inner, and then, sorry, there's an outer, there's a middle, and then the inner. And the inner is dry bag material. The outer is that nylon 1000 denier. And the middle part, I believe that gives it an abrasiveness on the middle section, but we'll see. So within the bag itself, nice red colour, it's got this dividing section, which is removable. And I'll just move it now so you can see into the bag. So at the rear of the bag, you have a little zip pouch, and obviously you can put a few bits and pieces in there. You also have these little loops, which are stretchy material to put things in, I suppose a little flashlight or pen or whatever you want. And they come in different sizes. The outer are smaller than the 3 middle, which are larger. And they're top and bottom. So that's a useful little thing at the rear of the bag. Plenty of Velcro down either side so that we can position the divider. And this divider is quite heavy duty in itself, with its Velcro either side, and it has an extra little pouch pocket. So clearly just something you can put in there that you want to put in there to keep tidy. So that divider would sit anywhere you want it to, really. So I'll just put it back somewhere like that. And then that gives you, obviously you play around with what you want to put in here, but it gives you a shape there, and it gives you some more storage behind here. But the Velcro could go up the top here, so you can go anywhere. So nice, clear, decent size interior. You've got your zipper at the front end. Sorry, the rear end. You've got your zipper at the rear end. You've got little webbing strapping points that you can put things in, like pens or tyre gauges, anything like that. You've got a divider, and you've got another zip pocket in that divider. Now, when we look at the lid, so when we've got the lid here, you have a pouch, a document pouch there, but again you can use it for whatever you want, and that's removable as it's Velcro. So you've got the 2 strips of Velcro, you've got the pouch that sits on it, and the pouch itself has a Velcro opening to it. That's definitely big enough to get documents in. It has another little webbing point here and there, again to put something in, like a pen or it could be anything really. You can put what you want in or not use it at all. And then that Velcros down like that. Also, there's another zip on the front, and that allows access to a webbing pouch. There's another webbing pouch on the front for little bits and pieces, and a very heavy duty key ring, which has a buckle, so you keep your keys in there if you want. And I guess the keys would go into that little pouch on the exterior. So nice feel to it, good quality. Just adapting as I go along. You could have that on the outside because it Velcros really well to the Velcro for the map pocket. So if you wanted that there because you wanted access at a customs area, that's a brilliant little thing to be able to do. But actually it lives here under normal circumstances. So that's the interior of your bag. Very simple. Few extra little pouch pockets, a document holder, key holder, and a divider. So going back to the map pocket, it'll be okay when I get to test these things, because at least then we'll see how good they are or not. But the map pocket sits back on again, because this is the rear, this is the front, so the map pocket sits something like that. And the last two things, I guess, just to touch on, is you'll be able to get your power cables through there into the main body, and your power cable through there into the map pocket, if you've got a device that you want to charge inside. So, as you can see, one thing just to also show is where your zippers are. You've got an overlap of about 1 inch at the bottom, so that as the thing is zipped up, even if any ingress was to get in there, you've at least got some protection with the inner material sitting up 1 inch. The bag's designed specifically not to have a lot of strength. I mean, it does sit upright on its own there, but there is a degree of flexibility in the bag, and that's to allow you, when you're trail riding, if you're leaning against it, if you brush up against it, there will be some flexibility subject to what you have inside. So just to sum that up, from what I was looking for from a tank bag, putting aside the magnetic part that I wanted originally, this fulfills, or would seem to fulfill, everything I want. It's not too big, so it's quite a decent size without being too big. It has a map pocket, and whilst it isn't magnetic, it has quick fixings to be able to fasten it, take it on and off quickly. And the fixings on the bike will stay where they're at, so that when you are fitting the bag to the bike fittings, rear and front, are already in place. So that's the bag, Enduristan Sandstorm 4H tank bag, and we'll just go and try it on the bike and see actually what it looks like. Okay guys, so I've got the bag mounted roughly where it would go. That rubber base takes the form of the tank, and it's not properly strapped down, although I've just got the front fixings temporarily on just to hold it where it is. So that's roughly where it's going to be. The map pocket might move back and forward a bit. We can play around with that, and it's only when we get the fastenings on that we'll know exactly where it sits best. But roughly speaking, that's about where I'd want it. It doesn't interfere with the movement of the handlebar, so there's no connection knocking the switches. It doesn't, in that position, it doesn't touch the bar at all. Bear in mind it's not fastened down tightly, and from a point of view of access, it's really useful here, sitting on the bike, to be able to just lift the whole thing up like that and access what I want to access in the bag. And that, for me, is pretty perfect, to be honest. That's brilliant. I've got full access to the bag. Everything in there is easily reachable while sat on the bike. The pouch here is easily accessible where it is, and then for fastening down, it's just a case of pulling the zips all the way back round again. It'll be a lot better when it's fastened down, because at the moment it moves around. It won't move around once it's fastened, and when it's fastened it'll hug to the tank more so than it even is doing now. So roughly speaking, that's going to be the position, and you know, that's my riding position there. So we've still got gap. Now in a standing position, we'll just try that and see where we're at with the standing position. To be honest, the overlap of the map pocket just touches when I stand, but the easy answer to that is, when trail riding, is to, well, I guess just to reverse it. So with the map pocket reversed, I don't suppose it's only the flap that would touch, but it did touch. And we'll just try again the standing position now. And to be honest, that's fine. I know where it's going to sit now. It's going to sit right up to the front edge of the tank where it goes down. But that, if I can get it into position, that's perfect. And even if you do brush against it, it's not a problem. But that actually, for me, is just right. That's perfect. But for trail riding, that would irritate me a little bit. So for trail riding, I'd just shift it around like that. I mean, it might be that that's how you have it. Just turn it round. Doesn't really matter. It's still well velcroed on. So, guys, that's a look at the tank fitted, and I'll just do a walk around so you can see what it looks like. And then the next thing, I'll do a fitting video to show you how the thing actually fits and how it fits to the Honda CB500X in particular. So guys, that's the Enduristan Sandstorm 4H tank bag, 7 litre, map pocket, everything I've been looking for, and still got to fit it down tightly to the tank. I'll do that in a separate video, but for now I'm very happy with what I see. Thanks for watching.